Cool. So I know most of you all know me on the call, but I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. My name's Joshua Thompson Beret. I go by JTB. I'm a Western Ed Staff snowboard examiner. I've been assessing other instructors since 2004. So I've been an examiner for a long time in various regions, but the Western the longest. And been an instructor since the year 2000. And so as we go through this, things have changed throughout, my time as an examiner, and they'll continue to change. But I'm open to all your questions. I feel like I have hosted about every level of event that could be hosted. So I love your questions. So as we go through this, I've kind of got a little bit of a game plan. But if you ever have a question as I kind of go through this, please don't hesitate to stop, ask me, and we'll get going. Also on the call is PSIA-AASI. He is a level 3 ski instructor hailing out of Tahoe and has also gone through all the levels of certification and has pursued the resort trainer pathway a little bit. That's for people who train other instructors at their resorts. So he's also a wealth of knowledge if you have ski specific questions. And then also on the call is Tyrus Fisher. Tyrus he is a level 3 snowboard instructor and a staff trainer at his home mountain of Kirkwood, and is currently in the resort trainer process. And so there's kind of has experienced all of it, and relatively more recently than I have from the participant side. So all great resources right here. So with that, I'll go ahead and kick it off. CMAC, I'll lean on you to kind of admit people from here on out. I'm going to go into a screen share and just kind of start with first, like what PSIA-AASI is. So just trying to get to my right screen here. I guess this is it. No, that's not it. Maybe this is it. Snipping tool posted to, oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry, guys. It was weird. It was taking me to a really weird screen. Anyways, so I'm going to start off with this website right here. So this is the snowpros.org. So if you're brand new to this and you've never seen anything about instructing, and you're wondering where to go, this is the national website for PSIA called the snowpros.org. And basically what this is this is the home website for all the information about being an instructor across the entire US. So what instructor certification means. And I'll take a step back and just tell you what the acronyms mean. So PSIA stands for Professional Ski Instructors of America, and AASI stand for American Association of Snowboard Instructors. It's the same organization, it's the same people, just on different pieces of equipment. So it's easy to get those two confused, but when you're pursuing snowboard certification, it's going to be under AASI. When you're pursuing ski certification, it's going to be under PSIA. And you heard me say this thing, the national website. So essentially what PSIA and AASI is a certification body made up of one, membership, so instructors. So when I speak about membership, I speak about instructors, me, CMAC, Tyrus, and Jakin, who is also an instructor on the call here. We comprise the membership. And then there's member schools. And so member schools would be like the Palisades Tahoe Ski School, the Snoqualmie Ski and Ride School. They would be a member school, so the mountains. And essentially PSIA and AASI were created to supply like a standard level of knowledge and some shared growth pathways for instructors that could be shared from one ski school to the other, from one state to another state. So instead of it being this ski school knows what they know and they're going off the old German system created 50 years ago, and this other ski school has developed a different way of connecting beginners to the sport. Well, now they're able to share information compare best practices and kind of present with what collectively they believe to be those best practices. And so that's what PSIA-AASI is it's an organization that allows people to bring together in the US best practices, agree upon those best practices, and then train people towards those best practices. So that's what that thing is. And so it's made of two things. So there's the national, and that's what we're on right here. So that's sort of the hub. And then there's regions. So if you look at the website right here, this is the national website. And right here, I can go over to regions. And so regions, if you look at, this is this really cool map right here. So regions, you can see the country's kind of split up into pieces. And so I think Albert, you're in the Northwest region. So those are all the places that I'll go to that mountain. This used to be my home region, this little guy right here, Northern Intermountain, when I worked in outside of Boise. And then this is the region I'm currently in, which is the Western region. So each region has some things that are specific to that region. Each region has their own events calendar, and each region has their own administrative staff. And so when you become a member of a region, albeit you pay national dues, which pays for this big website right here and a lot of the content that goes into it, but events are hosted regionally. Your certification is recognized nationally across all regions, but events are hosted regionally. I'm pretty stoked because we just got Hawaii. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Western has Hawaii. Yes. Um, so anyways, depending on what region you're in, you can go to this part of the website and select your region, and it'll take you to a regional site. So like for me, I'm Western. So if I wanted to go and see what's happening in West, then I would click that right there. And this would take me to another page. Then I could go to the regional website of Western. I've actually already opened it up. I'm going to check my little thing here to see if I'm on target with what I wanted to talk about. But so I've actually already opened it up right here. So if you go to like Western, this is our regional site. And so you can kind of scroll down here. And the reason there's regions, why is there regions versus just a national calendar, is because there are so many ski schools and there are so many instructors that to better serve the greater membership, which is me, CMAC, Tyrus, and anybody who's an instructor, it made more sense to narrow that playing field down so we could host events that would benefit the member schools. So especially the smaller resorts like Palisades, Tahoe, and Mammoth are they play on a national field, but places like Dodge Ridge or China Peak or Snoqualmie in Washington or Bogus Basin in Idaho, like they don't necessarily play on that national field. So without having a regional support for PSIA, they might not ever get an instructor event. So that's why there's regions, or one of the big reasons there is. But going here, I'm going to check my cheat sheet again. So the next thing I want to talk about was becoming a member. And I was going to show you that starting through the regional calendar or the regional website. So if we look at the regional website, you can go right here. This is ours. And a lot of the regional websites look the same. They look really similar. So this is membership, and it kind of goes in why to join PSIA. So if I click that, it's going to take me to this part right here, which become a member. I can go down here, and this kind of talks about what dues cost, right? So 75% is Western dues, 85% is national dues, but you can also just join up for free too. So become a member, takes you to another page. This is the national website. So I can say join now, right? And then right here, yeah, go ahead.
什么？
Hey Annie, I think you're unmuted.
为啥？
But you can go
I just
right
muted
here.
her.
Oh, okay.
She's good.
So you can go right here and you're going to go through and fill out all your information, all this stuff, and you're going to keep scrolling through. And then it's going to say, I am connected with the ski school. So if you are, you slide that and you can search your school. And if you're not, you can slide it the other way and you're not connected with a ski school. Employment status with the school, full-time, part-time. This is just gathering information. Membership type. So right here, so say you wanted to, well, I guess I have to select the other boxes, but right here under membership type, you can select if you want to just be an affiliate member, so a free membership, and just create a profile, or if you want to have a paid profile. So, any questions about this page right here before I move on to like what the membership portal looks like? It's pretty easy. You follow the prompts, the things happen, but any questions here? Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I've gone through the liberty of opening up my profile so you can see what a profile looks like. So once you do become a member of PSIA or AASI, whether it's free or not free or a paid membership, you'll have something that looks like this. And so right here, I'm not going to go too into detail here. If anybody has questions about this or where to find things or what this is, please ask. But essentially, it tells you the events you've done, the stuff you've done, so your education history, things you've paid for, and then your membership card, stuff like that, and school affiliations, all this stuff. So this is super, super duper helpful to understand what your portal is, because things like your membership card, like you're going to use that to go to other ski resorts and get a deal on a lift ticket. So it's important to have that. And education history, all that kind of stuff, your events, you're going to be able to see what you're signed up for and stuff on this membership portal. Another really cool part of this portal is you can go up to the top and you'll see like the shop, the pro offers. That's where you get sweet deals for being a membership. And then right here, Snow Pros and e-learning, you can access it here, or you can access it from the main site. So this being the boom, this being the main site. So that's kind of memberships, how to register as a member. One of the things that's like important with one of the things that's nice with free membership is you can see some of the digital material, which we'll go into in a minute about what the digital resources are, and that you can't access if you don't have a login. So you have to have a login to access those. And the paid membership actually gives you the access to sign up for events, gives you a free digital manual. So a teaching snow sports manual and a manual specific to your discipline. So if I'm a snowboarder, I get the technical snowboard manual. If you're a skier, you get the skier technical manual, the digital version of it. And then also opens you up to those pro offers that I talked about, like discounts on Swanee gloves and K2 snowboards and all sorts of cool stuff. And it is really robust. It's pretty cool. Um, so with that, that's kind of becoming a member. So I want to go into certification, but before I do go into certification, is there any questions about membership, becoming a member, or what membership means? Anybody?
Just curious, if you take the exam in another country, which region will be associated with?
That's a really good question. Yeah. So if you take like so say you were to go to China, right? And you were to take an exam in China, I'm just using that as an example because that's where a lot of AASI events are happening. Um, there that those events are still tied to a region. So national doesn't actually put on any exams. They did it for like one or two runs and then they stopped. And so like if you were to take an exam in China, it's most likely going to be connected to the Rocky Mountain region. So you'll be a member of Rocky Mountain that is hosting that region is hosting an event in China. Or in the past, Western had hosted events in Japan, but you would be a Western member. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I know. Since maybe 2 years ago or last year, this has also been become popular in China. Because the CASI system was more popular before, but I think AASI is getting more um interest in China.
Cool. And I think that's great. I think that and when it comes to systems, there is definitely some debate about like who has the best system. And the reality is they're all fantastic. They all have their merits. And they have different approaches to technical understanding, different approaches to teaching. And, you know, if I could if I could be part of all the different systems and know all the stuff, I would. I just live in the US and this is the one that I've followed so far, but I don't really see necessarily that one's any archingly more better than the other. Um, but before I go into certification, what certification is, I'm going to hit that real quick. So certification, regardless of the place, the body you're getting certified through, that certification is an instructor credential that essentially you can use to take to, and like in the US, you can take to a member school and apply for a job. Usually pay. So what you get paid, the rate of pay is connected in some ways, not wholly, but in some ways to certification. So say you're a level 2 cert and you got your level 2 certification in California in the Western region, you could go to the Eastern region with your level 2 certification, and there would be an assumed level of knowledge. Like they would just assume you already know how to teach beginners. They would assume right out of the gate that you can already teach intermediate snowboarders. And through that assumption, they're going to give you a pay that represents what you can do. And you're probably going to get lesson assignments and stuff that are around that level too. So it's like you can travel with it. It's also when it goes internationally too. Like there's a lot of schools like for Japan or New Zealand where a minimum of a level 2 is what you have to have, not only to work at that school, but for the government to like recognize you as a professional, and then may decide to allow you to have a professional visa. So that's part of what this certification does. I know for me, when I went to New Zealand, I got a working visa because I was a level 3, and the country didn't have enough of us at the time, so I was able to work there for a while. But yeah, any questions before I move on to finding certification stuff? Any questions on what certification is? Okay, cool. I'm moving on. So right here, the reason I want to start with the Western site is because every region has still has a difference in what their prerequisites might be. And they have a few differences in what their actual process might be. Now, we've spent a lot of years trying to really come together on everything from our national standards to the process that's on the snow to the riding and skiing elements that we assess. All that's there's been a ton of work to bring it together, but it's still not until May of 2026, and I'm probably sure after that there's still going to be regional differences. So when you go to the regional website, this is a really great place to really understand if I'm going to take the level 1 test, level 2 or 3 here, what is that going to look like? So I'm going to go down to snowboard right here. And I'm just going to use snowboard. CMAC, I'm sorry, I'm using snowboard, but it's just about how to like kind of surf the
No
site.
worries. It's similar enough. It's similar enough.
It is. It is. And I actually looked this up after our call earlier. Like, what was the prerequisite for level 3? Is there like a CS1 or CS2 children's specialist required, right? And there isn't. It's suggested. So in Rocky Mountain, it's required, but in here it's suggested. So I'm going to start with level 1 and I'll get to level 3. So don't worry, I'm getting there, CMAC. But
Okay.
if we look at level 1 in the West, there's a few prerequisites. So first off, these are just age requirements. Teaching, this is suggested right here, but training, there is a requirement here before you can take the level 1 exam in the West, and this is unique to Western, that you either have to work for a school and be part of their on snow, I don't know, accredited isn't the right word, but sanctioned training program, a member school training program, or you have to take a 5-day prep course that's actually a composite of 3 different events. So you can take 2 days one time, 2 days another time, and 1 day another time, or you can take them all as a 5-day stretch. And that's called the Introduction to Snow Sports. So that's one prerequisite for the level 1. The second prerequisite, and this is for every region, is the Snowboard Level 1 e-learning course. And later I'll surf on how we get to e-learning courses, but this is just the prerequisites. And so I went to the regional website to find those. And so once you've done all that, then you can register for the level 1 exam. Another thing too here is, so there's required resources. I'm going to keep kind of scrolling through. There's the event description. So it tells you a little bit about what a level 1 is. And then course schedule tells you a little bit here. Performance standards, a lot of this can be found on the national website, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But another thing I wanted to show you guys on the regional site, this is really cool, is it's really hard to find though. They made it super hard to find, is under education, there's the resource library. This is crazy how hard this is to find, but I'm going to show you anyways. And you go into snowboard because that's the certification we're talking about right now. And now it has levels 1, 2, 3, and resort trainer. Now, this link is messed up. Don't go to this link. It takes you to ski stuff when it's snowboard stuff. It says snowboard, it takes you to ski stuff. This will get fixed. I just put a ticket in to get it fixed an hour ago. So it'll get fixed. But you scroll down and it goes right here to level 1 process guides, the daily outline. So if you're taking an exam and you want to know what that's going to look like, you can hit this process guide and it's going to show you the process for that level 1 exam. And I'm not going to go into what this is, but this, if I was to take an exam, I would know this thing backwards and forwards. I would want to know this document so I have an idea of what to expect on snow and what I'm training to. Another thing here too is the snowboard ride assessment activities. Right here, I would know this so well. I would know all this. And has level 2, level 3, core activities. And so I would know what these things are. So that way I was ready for that level 1. The level 1's in green, level 2's in blue, level 3's in gray. And I don't know, this is other stuff. I know what it is, but I'm not going to go into it. So those are some things that you can find on the regional website that can be region specific. So level 2 right here, same thing, process guide for the ride, process guide for the teach. Level 3, same thing, process guides. So these are going to be important. So I'm going to go back to certification, back to snowboard, because I told you, CMAC, we're going to look at those differences in prerequisites. And I'm still on snowboard, but it's the same for ski. I checked it out. It's the same for ski. So you got to trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, you're right. It's just a highly suggested. I
yep.
didn't read the heading before I texted you. Yeah.
Yeah, highly suggested. And same thing with level 3. You're going to see these parts right here, and it says required prerequisites and then suggested ones. And suggested, those might be required in a year or so, but they're suggested right now. But like I said, these prerequisites are different between regions. So whatever region you're taking your test in, you want to figure out what those prerequisites are. So any question about prerequisites, that stuff, how to find that information? Anybody? Okay, either I'm just rambling on or I'm doing a fantastic job. And I'm going to go with I'm doing a fantastic job right now. So the next part I wanted to hit too. So we had certification, regional website, now national website. So on the national website, you can go here. And this is where like the bulk of like the training information lives. So videos, e-learning courses, all that stuff, books, stuff like that to train towards. That's where this lives. So I'm going to go right here to professional development. I'm going to keep going over here to get certified. I'm going to stay with snowboard. These look the same, but I'm going to stay with snowboard. And so I go to snowboard. And one thing that's kind of tricky with this website is you got to scroll a lot. So like, don't see what you want. It might it's a very robust website. There's lots of stuff on it. So, and lots of stuff can be found in lots of different places. So you got to scroll a lot. So I'm going to scroll down. So first, why certified, not yet instructor. There's places to start right there. Those are cool places to go. You keep scrolling. This talks a little bit about what each level of certification is, what it takes. So choose your discipline, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a roadmap for certification. And then right here, this is my favorite part. So the most up-to-date information on like what you're going to be assessed on, the language around that lives on this website, not the regional website. That'll get better in the future, but that's how it is right now. So this one gets updated first. So certification standards, this is pretty cool. So this takes you to all levels of certification standards. You go down here, snowboard fundamentals. I really like this document because, and I actually open it up right over here, so I'm going to go to it real quick. So this is the learning connection model. Kind of to the CASI versus AASI versus NZ ski versus the Argentine system or whatever. They're all going to have sort of their own like model that they base their education around, or their process, the things they teach to, how they teach. And for us, it's this model right here. And in another discussion, I'll go real deep into why this is so awesome. But one of the things that we really pride ourselves on in the US teaching system is the student connection model. So the learning connection model is what it's called, LCM. And so everything we do is student centered. Students in the middle, technical skills, people skills, teaching skills. These are the things that we bring to the table. And our behaviors are all we use the stuff we know, decide our behavior to match the student needs. And that seems pretty like, duh, that's just good teaching. But it is actually pretty unique to PSIA and AASI. So this is pretty special. And then you keep going through, and this is the fundamentals. So it has the fundamental people skills, the fundamental teaching skills, and then the fundamental like technical skills. So it has alpine and snowboard over here. And these are things that if you're going into instructing, this is essentially the language of PSIA and AASI. So this document right here is, if you know these things, then you're able to talk to any other certified instructor in our organization, and you guys will have a common language. This is the common language. So it's really good to understand what these are at a base level, because it's going to give you a springboard to communicate with folks that are also doing the same thing or may have been teaching for a long time and understand what they're saying. So I'm going to get out of there. Back to this. So we have the snowboard fundamentals. We have snowboard performance guides. So snowboard technical skills, teaching skills, people skills. I'm going to go right here. This is a snowboard performance guide. So this, and the language can be really confusing at first. So I suggest you dive in, just dive in, start reading, and start coming up with questions, because really understanding starts with looking at it, getting confused, and then asking a question so you're less confused. And myself, I'm always a resource. CMAX on the same WeChat group, if you're part of that, he's a resource. We're all resources, but the one thing I love about this is it says like a skidded turn right here is one of the writing things that you might be asked to do, or you will be asked to do in level 1. It says successful performances, successful things, and unsuccessful things. And so if you're looking like, what does a successful skidded turn look like? What are some words that go around it? Well, here's the successful stuff, and here's the unsuccessful stuff. And so you can watch your own video or think about your own writing and try to say like, am I hitting all of these? Or am I feeling something weird, and which one is it? And like I said, I'm not going to belabor this too far. I just want you guys to be aware of what a performance guide is. And then these exist not only for our technical skills, but for our people skills. So how we interact with others and how we create relationships and listen and all those things that basically create trust between me and somebody else, and me as the teacher and somebody else as the student. And then our actually teaching skills. So like how we build progression, how we move people along the snow, all those things. So that's the performance guide. And those are directly tied along to the things you'll be assessed at in an exam. Here's the snowboard assessment forms. So here's what one looks like. And these are the things, the little boxes that they'll be assessing you towards. So you can kind of see what somebody's going to look for in a teach assessment. Same thing with, well, let me go back to that. This is a level 1, so this has everything on it. So it has writing and technical understanding as well. So you can kind of see some of the things you'll be assessed on. And like I said, the language is designed to be timeless and for whatever reason, extra confusing. So look at it, and those are your springboards for questions for learning. And this one's pretty cool. So the last part I want to show you on the national website is the skill videos. or maybe not the last thing, but one of the things I want to show you. So the matrix. This is a really cool resource that exists on the national website. So you go onto the matrix and it's videos, videos, videos. It'll ask you to log in. I'm already logged in, so the page automatically popped up, but it may ask you to log in. So if you have to, that's where you have that either free membership or paid membership, and you get access to the matrix. And right here, you can go down to, well, I've got this level 1 coming up. So what do those tasks look like? I go to snowboard, click snowboard. You can do this for all the other ones too. And I can filter by certification. So say I'm just going to filter for level 1. And next up to see all the different kind of tasks that I could be asked to do. And if the tasks aren't here that I'm looking for, I just hit load more. And there's another video. So videos will pop up about those tasks. So that's a good place to, like, if you need a visual aid, this is a great place to find it. It's not just there though. So you can go, you can search through education. So how to do movement analysis, how to teaching. So information on videos on how to teach. All sorts of good stuff is in here. So I highly suggest, if you aren't already using this or looking at it, I highly suggest that you do, because it's a fantastic resource and a lot of people have volunteered a lot of hours to make this thing. So it's pretty cool. And I'm going to go back to my cheat sheet here. So the last part I want to hit, so helpful videos, performance guides, national standards. So the other thing I want to show you guys here on this national website too is once you're logged in, this all goes back to your region if you do anything, but the e-learning platform. So e-learning and digital manuals. So for level 1, say you have to do the e-learning, the level 1 e-learning course, you can go to e-learning right here. Same thing, it's going to ask me to log in. It's going to take a few moments. And courses, so e-learning courses. Right here, there are some courses that you're free, some courses you have to pay for. So like the Alpine level 1 e-learning course, that's what you would take. It's mandatory if you're going to take your level 1 Alpine exam. The somewhere down here is the snowboard e-learning course level 1. There it is, snowboard level 1 e-learning course. There's some free stuff here too. So there's the delivering the beginner experience snowboard will kind of run you how to teach like a beginner lesson on a snowboard, some tips to do it. And there's the same thing for Alpine. So beginner experience Alpine. It lives somewhere in here. I'm not going to keep looking, but it lives somewhere in here. And then there's introduction to working with children. That's a free one. So go ahead and peruse this. Same thing, it's a wealth of knowledge. Some of these courses are paid, like if it says CEUs next to it, you got to pay for it. If it doesn't say CEUs, you probably don't have to pay for it. It's probably included in your membership. So I'm going to come back out of this. And there we are. And the other part I want to show you here too is digital manuals, all this. So this is where like those digital or printed manuals where you can find that stuff. So if you want to look at a book, this is where the books exist. And in a different time, I can go way deeper into this, but that's what this is. So back to our regional website right here. So events. So this is the last part, or not the last part, but this is something I want to show you. So events, each region will have its own calendar. So I can go to calendar right there. And then the events are going to pop up. So this is everything happening in December. I keep scrolling, everything happening in January, and it goes. Now, this is a lot to look at, and all these are different events that you may or may not be able to attend depending on your level of certification. But I can filter these events by discipline. So say I want events that are just snowboard specific, I can go right here and hey, snowboard. And scroll through, and I'm going to start to see what's available for snowboard, right? And a lot of these are going to be assessments. When you click the discipline specific, it's going to be assessments, but some of them aren't. And so this is pretty cool. Like right here, Snowboard Master Series, Big Mountain Techniques, Mammoth Mountain, February 5th. Like this is an event that if you just want to grow your big mountain riding skills, you can go to that. Or like a prep course right here. So let me find a better one. So level 3 ride prep course. So this might be you already have your level 2, you want to go towards your level 3. This isn't mandatory, but you can still attend this event to get some education towards that level of certification. Yeah, keep going. So, and then also up here you have freestyle stuff, you have children specific stuff, and you just have general education. This one's pretty fun. So I'm going to filter by education. So education clinics are things that are open to any discipline. So like family and kids, learning how to teach kids and family members at Diamond Peaks, or teaching skills, exploring and supporting physical strengths and limitations. So these things are kind of cool. Some of these are like online. So like locker room talk. This is going to probably be, well, no, it's not. This is an online one, mid-season check-in. So there's online education. So like webinars, and then there's like on snow stuff. And these are like multidiscipline educational clinics. And why are those important? Because outside of certification, if you do get certification, you also have to do what's called continuing education, CEUs. And so say you've got your level 1 and you want to stay current. So you've done your level 1 and the next year happens and you're not going to do a level of certification or pursue it. You still have to take other events to stay what we call educationally current. Same thing they do with like teachers in a scholastic system. They have to take continuing education to be current at their job. And so our organization requires you to do the same thing. So every couple of years, you got to take a clinic. It could be anything, but you got to take a clinic to just kind of be abreast of what's the new. So that's what CEUs are. So that's the educational clinics outside of certification, which I just showed you, cert prep clinics, and there's specialists like freestyle specialists, children's specialists, senior specialists, and all those things. So I think I just made it through my thing here. You guys got to hear me ramble on, and I need a break. So somebody has to ask a question about anything regarding PSIA, AASI, anything.
All right, I've got one.
Fire away.
So what happened if you skip a year and you haven't, let's say you got your certification and the next 2 years you haven't gone through a clinic? What happens to your status?
So your status goes in, so your certification, if you've been paying your dues, so you got to pay your dues every year too. So your dues are like that 170 that showed up on the becoming a member. So if you paid your dues every year, but you haven't done anything, then you go into basically like you're required to do some CEUs to bring your certification back to current. So your certification won't be current until you complete those CEUs. And it's essentially, I think it's 2 days every 2 years. So it could be a day a year or 2 days of education every 2 years. It's assessed on a biannual basis. But certification counts. Yeah.
Plus, there's some units you can do online too now. More and
Mhm.
more online
Yep.
courses.
And there's also robust scholarships that you can apply for, and you can hunt around the national website and the regional website for scholarships. And so if it's not something you can pay for, but you like need CEUs, you need education, there are scholarships for that. And really, like oftentimes the money just like everywhere else, the money's there and nobody grabs it. So if you need a scholarship, look into it.
So let's say, for example, I have my level 1,
Mhm.
but I'm guessing it's not current. Does it have to be current for me to move on to level 2 exams?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so for like in your case, right? So you probably got to pay a year or so of back dues. And there's a cap to that. Like if you didn't pay your dues for 5 years, I think you only have to pay 2 years of it. And then you'll have to do a couple of education clinics to get up to current before you can take your level 2. That can be prep clinics towards level 2, but you'll have to do a couple education clinics.
Okay, cool. My next question is, you mentioned freestyle specialists,
Mhm.
children specialists, seniors, right? Are those parallel with level one, two, and three, or are they kind of like on a separate path? You like how does that work? The level two, level three, level one, and the individual disciplines.
Yeah. So they are separate paths in a way, but they share information, right? So like you still have to do like a if you're starting with a level one and say you want to get your CS2, well, you're gonna have to do your CS1 first, your children's specialist one, and then take your children's specialist two. However, if you have your level three, you can just go right to children's specialist two. Or if you have your level two, you can just go right to children's specialist two. You don't have to take the level one. Um,
Is
with
that
free, yeah.
is that only for the Western region?
Um, I don't know.
Because Rocky doesn't allow that. The only exception to bypass CS1 is if you have a degree in early childhood education.
Yeah, it must be a regional thing then. Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's what we're talking about. Regions. Got to study your regional website. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I just heard someone talking about like I have a friend who's taking a level one exam in Loveland in Colorado. She told
Mhm.
me in their region for level two, you have to take the children specialists first.
CS1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, CS1 is always a prerequisite for level 2 in Rocky.
And the CS2 is a prerequisite for level three in
For level
Rocky, right?
3 in Rocky,
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
FS1 is a hard requirement for if you want to go for trainer. So Rocky has a
Mhm.
lot of bars there.
Yeah. And in the West, those prerequisites don't exist yet. I say yet
Mhm.
because
Not
that's the
yet.
next thing that we're coming towards. Yeah. So we just haven't got there. And it's similar, like the Northwest is even more lenient when it comes to prerequisites, I believe. So it really is. You gotta look at your own region for that. But with that being said, it doesn't mean that because there's prerequisites in Rocky that the exam is more challenging. The assessment is the same assessment, and the certification means the same as far as that part of the certification. So level one, two, and three, regardless of where you get it, it means the same thing. Um, cool. Any other questions about anything? PSIA, AASI, benefits, the job board, being an instructor, anything like that?
Who in this group is already teaching
Um,
or has taught in the past?
Do you mean this season, CMAC, or like ever?
Ever?
I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
also currently working in the ski school.
yeah. Tim, you're working in a ski school. Jake, and you run a ski school. It's not a ski school, but it is sort of is. Um,
yeah, well, my class starts in 10 minutes.
it's perfect. And then
Yeah.
I think Tong, you're teaching, you taught somewhere, right?
No, I applied a job at the Tahadana ski resort, but I guess I don't have a green card yet. I can't be employed.
Dang it. Yeah.
Oh, you can. There's a way to do that. I got friends who actually some resort offer volunteer jobs for a ski
Yeah,
user for a
yeah,
ski
ask about that.
instructor.
But yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't have the program, even though they gave me the offer, but because of the visa, I couldn't proceed. Uh,
Okay.
Wait, are you based in the Bay Area?
no, I'm currently in Tahoe.
Oh, you live in Tahoe.
Yeah,
Oh, too bad.
full time.
What about in the summer?
Um, I lived in Tahoe full time one time, oh, like one summer, but this summer I was traveling. So uh, yeah,
Ah,
I think
dang
Jake
it.
is trying to offer you a job, is what he's doing.
I can pay cash. I can pay cash.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is David. Can
Hey,
you hear
David.
me?
Yeah.
Hi. I have a question about the NA, which is the um, new category for the PSIA level 2 this year. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering for this, I have joined the exam before. I joined the like teaching and skiing, and MA is mingle, which is two sections. However, this year the MA is like separate from these two sections and become an independent section. So I'm wondering what I don't know if you have any idea on this. So um, this kind
Yeah.
of M will be very particular to the exam. Like you look at the other examiners or the testers screen and then identify their problem and then give a like clinic or solution. Is it like that, the format?
No, it's not. So this is good though. It's a really good question. So the technical understanding and the movement analysis are its own module. And so technical understanding can encompass what you see in others and can also encompass like what you feel and understand about your own skiing or riding and also just how you understand biomechanics. So it is part of movement analysis because when you're looking at somebody, you're applying your understanding to them. It's like, are you accurately describing a cause and effect relationship when they like bend their leg? What happens to their ski in that part of the turn in the control phase of the turn? And you're able to speak to that outcome, right? So that's the technical understanding part. But the way that's being assessed is part of the day, you'll be assessed on just your personal technical understanding. So you'll be asked to like ride or ski a task, and then they'll look at you and they'll ask you like, well, when you skied the task, can you describe the use of one or two fundamentals and how they interacted at through all phases of the turn, um, to your own relative to your own skiing performance? Can you identify how the skis you chose today affected your performance in that task? And so it'd be based on your personal performance. And that's one way that they'll assess technical understanding. Then when it comes to movement analysis, you'll perform movement analysis on somebody else, another candidate in the group. You won't teach them after the movement analysis, but you'll watch them ski a task. They'll ski to you and past you, and then your examiner or examiners will ask you questions based upon your observations. So, what did you see? Your evaluation. So, like, was it like what you see match like the task, the ideal task? And then probably some cause and effect questions about how a fundamental or multiple fundamentals tracked through all phases of those turns. So specific to the edge change, like how did the fundamental of vertical pressure? So how was that in the edge change? What happened? And so they might ask you specific questions there. And then at the end, there's the prescription part. So observation, evaluation, prescription, and that's where you'll tell your examiner what next steps might be. So what you would want to work on with this person and potentially a drill or two or a path that you might use to get them there. So what terrain you might take them to and what exercise you might apply to that person. It's a lot of words, but did that sort of answer your question, David?
Yeah, thank you so much for this information. It's very helpful. Just sum it up that I need to observe the other candidates' scheme and give the evaluation and prescription, as well as I need to look at my own scheme to give the examiner some of their evaluation on my scheme and then give them prescription. Am I right?
Yeah. So especially when it comes to your own skiing, because in that day, the technical understanding and the movement analysis day, your actual, like your personal performance, how well you ski towards the standard, or if you did it right or didn't, like that doesn't matter. Your skiing performance does not matter that day, but your ability to be self-aware enough to speak to your real performance and your technical understanding to apply language to cause and effect relationships between movement, ski performance, and outcome. Like that's what's going to be assessed that day in your personal performance. And it's on the day. It's going to be very structured. And then when it comes to movement analysis, same thing. It'll be very structured.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you
And
bet.
one more thing is that for previously, it's like it may take a whole day to be examined by the skiing and also teaching. What about this time? If it's separate into 3 sections, would it be shorter or is still the same length of the examination?
Yeah, so depending on the region, for we're moving towards, so next year it's most likely going to be a day for technical understanding in MA, a day for ski performance, and a day for teaching. Right now in the Western region, it's 1 day for Tech MA, 1 day for your personal performance or like your actual ski performance, your technical skiing. So that's where your actual ability to do the stuff is measured, your demos and stuff. And then teaching is 2 days right now in the West.
Wow.
Now that's still region specific this year.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's very appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, I'm about to close it off. If there's any other questions, now's the time. I want to thank you all though for being here. So any other questions we got? Well, cool. Well, guys, thank you so very, very much for joining the call this evening and giving me a
Josh.
sounding board. Yes.
I'll talk to you when this is over.
Yeah, I'll stay
more
on.
detailed stuff.
I'll stop meeting or I'll stop recording and then I'll stay on. So, but
Cool.
before I hit stop recording, for anybody who wants to hop off the call, thank you guys so very, very much. I look forward to riding with you all, or at least this winter.
For this very informative and helpful seminar. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome.